Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to Peter Watches TV. I'm Peter and I watch TV. I watch all the TV shows. I watch all the reality TV shows, all the trending shows on all the streaming apps. I watch all the reality TV. Did I already say that? I watch all the true crime shows. And sometimes I watch movies and then I come over here and I react to all the TV shows and movies and stuff like that. So a while ago, I think it was, I did Long Legs and then I've done a couple other movies over here. I said that if I saw that movies came up that I wanted to watch and stream at home, that if I felt moved to, that I was going to react to them over here. So the last couple days, I have been watching quite a few movies over here, getting ready for spooky Halloween season. So my husband and I gotta make sure that I know exactly what the title of this movie is called. My husband and I, a couple nights ago, we watched the award-winning movie on Netflix. It's actually on top 10 on Netflix for their movies. And it is called, hold on, it's gone way down. It's now number 6. It wasn't number 5 yesterday. It's called It's What's Inside. If you guys would like me to do a reaction to that, I am more than willing to do a reaction to that. Last night, I watched Strange Darling. I had to pay my $19.99 to watch it on Apple TV, but I watched Strange Darling last night. And then I turned around and I watched Caddo Lake. So I was waiting for Caddo Lake to come out on Max at 3 a.m. And so I needed something in between. Now, my best friend, Tanya Jean, she got me hooked on the show Found, which is on Peacock. It is so fantastically done. But I kind of wanted to watch some scary movies last night. So I was watching Strange Darling because I was waiting for Caddo Lake. I was actually more excited to see Caddo Lake that came out on Max at 3 a.m. So it's out now on Max. Than I was to watch Strange Darling. But I had heard fantastic things about Strange Darling. And so last night, like I said, I paid my $19.99 and I watched Strange Darling. And I have to tell you, well, I think I'm going to do a full reaction over here, but I was just mesmerized by that movie. It's not for kids. I will tell you that. It is 100% not for kids. It is very violent, very graphic, a lot of adult themes. But it was like something I've never seen before. I actually have to tell you, at the beginning of it, like the first, I would say, third of it, I was kind of a little bored and I didn't really get it. And then as I kind of started to get it, I was like, this movie is amazing. Like, this movie is unbelievable. It's beautifully shot. The actor, Giovanni Ribisi, from back in the day, he is the director of photography for the film. The whole movie was shot on 35mm film. It's just really unbelievably done. The last 3 minutes of the movie, I mean, the acting for the last 3 minutes is just, will blow your mind. The acting in it is fantastic as well. So I watched Strange Darling last night. Then I turned around and I watched Caddo Lake, which is about a girl that goes missing in Caddo Lake, and I think it's in Georgia. I was very, very excited about this movie. So I'm going to do a full reaction to that as well. But basically, if you could shove all 3 seasons of that very bizarre show Dark, which I watched and loved, but still didn't understand at the end, which I already did a reaction to Dark, so you can go watch that. It's already up on this channel. A lot of times people will ask me, they're like, did you watch this show? Like, put it in a comment. And I'm like, yeah, I reacted to it 2 weeks ago. So just make sure that you look in my videos to see if maybe I've reacted to something. But I watched that show Dark, the German show. Caddo Lake is like Dark shoved into 1 hour and 44 minutes, but not done as well. I was very, very disappointed in Caddo Lake. And then my husband and I, like I said, we watched this movie, what's it called? What's Inside, or It's What's Inside. And my husband liked it. I did not. And I was very confused. I'm still confused. I mean, I get it. I understand what it's about. I get it. I'm not that stupid, but I get it. But I just felt like there was a lot of missed opportunities, and I had a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about it. So anyway, but then I also watched this weekend Salem's Lot, the 2024 version. So for those of you that do not know, hi, I'm Peter, and I love horror movies, and I love Halloween. Halloween is my favorite holiday of life. Last year on my Peter Does Stuff channel, leading up to Friday the 13th, I watched all of the Friday the 13th movies. I hadn't seen most of them, honestly. I'd seen a couple of them here and there. And then leading up to Halloween, over my Peter Does Stuff channel as a group, we watched all of the Halloween movies, all of them, even the Rob Zombie franchise. We watched all the movies, and I had seen all of them before. The Halloween franchise is probably not only one of my favorite horror movie franchises, but probably one of my favorite movie franchises of life. And huge Jamie Lee Curtis fan over here. I did not love how it ended. So last year we watched that over my Peter Does Stuff channel. And this year I was going to watch all the Saw movies. But I'm like, there's so much stuff to watch. There's like 2 shows coming out tonight. I watched Survivor last night too. I've got The Golden Bachelorette tonight to watch tonight. Alex and I have, my husband and I have Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Real Housewives of New York, Real Housewives of Orange County comes out tonight. I've got Survivor, or Big Brother. I've got so many shows to watch that I don't think that I'm going to do the movies over there for Halloween this year. So anyway, but if you do like movies over my Peter Does Stuff channel, every Friday I have a movie club called Peter's Movie Club, and it's like a nostalgic movie from my past. This last week, the movie was The Lady in White, which is a Halloween-themed movie, and I already have the movie picked out for this week that I'll be announcing over there tomorrow. So I've got all these movies and all these TV shows to watch tonight, so it's going to be a really fun night. But I wanted to come over here and do commentary about the remake of Salem's Lot 2024 that they just did. It was a Max original that they just put over on Max, because it's getting a lot of talk. A lot of people are talking about it. It's actually trending #1 over on Max right now, I saw. And it was interesting because my husband, I was like, do you want to watch it? And at first he was like, yeah, and then he wasn't really that interested in it. So I just ended up watching it myself because I really wanted to see it. Now, I am a Stephen King movie fan, but I haven't read any of his, I think I've read like 1 of his books, and it was with somebody else that he wrote it. But I've watched many of his movies. In fact, just like 2 weeks ago, I watched the 3-part miniseries Storm of the Century. So when people are, so I saw these people online talking about it, they're like, I don't understand why Salem's Lot 2024 is getting such a bad criticism. I actually really liked it. Well, first of all, like what you like. Watch the shows that you want to watch. Don't let anybody, just because somebody else has a different take on it. There's a lot of shows that I love that other people are like, that show is stupid. I would never watch what you like to watch, you know? Listen, you're only here once. Watch the shows, watch the movies that make you happy, right? But on the heels of watching Storm of the Century, which was like a 1990s made-for-TV 3-part miniseries, and then watching Salem's Lot 2024, I have to tell you, Storm of the Century was better, even though it came out 30 years ago. I don't know. My expectations were, to be honest with you, they weren't really that high going into it because I had seen the original Salem's Lot. I mean, the one part that I will always remember from Salem's Lot is the kid scratching on the window, you know, from the original Salem's Lot years ago. So the movie, to me, the original, was so scary, the original Salem's Lot, that I didn't really think, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not somebody that hates remakes. Sometimes I like remakes. Sometimes I like them better than the originals. Most of the time I don't, but sometimes I do. But I don't dislike remakes at all. So I went into it with a really open mind. A lot of people are like, it was horrible. I think Stephen King fans are like really holding to the original because they did take some creative liberty with the show, or the movie. But I would say that the majority of it pretty sticks to the main theme of the original movie. I didn't dislike the cast. I thought that the town they filmed it in for Salem's Lot, I thought it was a great town that they picked to film it in. I thought the cast was pretty good. It had Alfre Woodard in it, who I love her. It had a couple other people that I really like. I didn't think the cast was bad at all. A lot of people are saying that it was too fast, they tried to do things in too little time, that the special effects weren't great. In all honesty, that they were saying, okay, so I am going to spoil it, just so you know. So when you watch it, like, it's about vampires. Salem's Lot is about vampires, a town that's overtaken by this vampire that comes into town, and he moves into this old house, and it's about this guy that he grew up there, and he comes back, he's a writer, and he comes back into town at the time that this vampire is killing and taking over the town. Okay. So it's about him and a group of people trying to, like, take down the vampires. So one of the things that they do is that, like, when they make a cross, whether they make it with wood and they bind it, or a real cross, the crosses glow. A lot of people are saying that they think it's really, really cheesy. Well, to remake this show, I think that one of the things that was so scary about the original was that there really weren't that many special effects. You know, it's like when you go back and you look at some of the scariest movies from back in the day, it's like the very Alfred Hitchcock kind of idea that you close a door, you know, and you leave a sign that says do not disturb, and you don't know what's going on in that room. Well, the old Stephen King films, when they were made that way, there was a lot of that. When you go back and look at the original Pet Sematary, which to this day some people say is like the scariest movie ever, there was a lot that was left to the imagination. So when you bring it to 2024 and you're trying to do a lot of special effects, it isn't going to be really that scary. And the scary is going to come off as kind of stupid, if you want to know the truth. And that's kind of how I felt about it. I didn't think it was horrible. I didn't think it was bad. It felt very much to me kind of like a teenage version of Salem's Lot is what it felt like. It felt like kind of a like a first season, not this good of I think Stranger Things is fantastic. It's one of my favorite shows ever. But how it's kind of like, it seemed more like that. It seemed more of like a kid down version of the original Salem's Lot. It didn't seem scary. It seemed more kind of like the family version of Salem's Lot is how it kind of felt to me. I think that's what people are really, like, they're not saying it that way, but what they're having issues with. People are picking apart the special effects are horrible, and that the vampires don't look real, and that it's cheesy, and that it's rushed, and all these kinds of things. It did feel rushed. It felt very rushed. At the beginning of it, it felt very slow, and then the end of it seems very rushed, and I think that's what people are having an issue with. I would agree with that. I do think that the end of it seems very rushed. But also, I don't know that I would have wanted to watch a 3-hour movie of this, of the building of relationships in these people. I thought it was cast well, I did. The only thing that I thought was scary at all was, like, the main vampire. Like, he was the only thing that I thought was scary at all. And you don't even really see him until, like, the last 15 minutes of the movie. So, other than that, it wasn't, like, I mean, it was kind of gory. There were a few scary scenes, but I'm somebody that sits downstairs with my iPad in my chair, and I watch my shows late at night when my husband and my dog are asleep, and I can get scared very, very easily. It didn't scare me at all. At all. I mean, it felt like it was like the family version of the original Salem's Lot. Like, it didn't scare me at all whatsoever. And so I think that for the huge diehard Salem's Lot fans, but also the diehard Stephen King fans, I think they're like, this missed the boat completely. It did. It almost kind of seemed like a caricature of the original. You know, like when you go to, like, the county fair, and it's like, they have the caricature with, like, the big eyes. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that caricature drawing? It almost kind of seemed like that. Not really like a joke, but like a funnier version of itself. Like, it did attempt to have some kind of comedic scenes in it that it didn't really work, because you were like, is this a comedy? Is this a horror movie? Is this a family movie? It came across very much like, do you remember the movie Super 8 that came out years ago? I actually think it's a great movie, Super 8. I love that movie. But it's like one of those summer blockbusters, you know, where they would do these big, like, family movies that are, like, back in the day, like the science fiction, you know, like, family movies. This reminded me of, like, Super 8 meets Salem's Lot in the middle somewhere. Like, it wasn't horrible. It was a good watch. I enjoyed watching it. Like, I didn't walk away from it and be like, this was horrible. I mean, I don't know, maybe. I think, like, that next day, people were asking me. Like, I watched Caddo Lake last night. I wouldn't recommend that movie to anybody. I wouldn't. I thought it was horribly done. It was very confusing. They didn't really explain a lot. And then what they did explain was very, very rushed. Like, I mean, if somebody said to me, like, I like the original Salem's Lot, should I watch this? I think originally I just was like, no, it was bad. I think in a couple days out, I probably would say, if you like the original, watch it. Yeah, it's a fun version of it, but you're not going to be scared by it. You're not going to think that it's as great as the original, you know? I mean, and very few movies, in all honesty, are as great as the original. I think that's part of the problem with remakes. I think that's part of the problem why, for a long time, we were seeing a lot of remakes, and now, I mean, I'm from the generation that a lot of the movies that I grew up with, like the Poltergeist and things like that, they're doing remakes of, and the remakes are not anywhere near as good as the originals. But one of the things you also have to remember is, when the original Poltergeist came out, I mean, I remember being terrified by that movie. When the original Poltergeist came out, when the original Salem's Lot came out, we hadn't really ever seen anything like that. Today, we live in a world that's completely saturated, okay? That vampire better be coming out of the TV and look 100% real for people to say it looks real. You know what I mean? I mean, we live in a world where Walking Dead, the universe, which I love, has completely taken over TV. And people are criticizing any movie in comparison to how do the zombies look. So we're in a completely different world. When the original Salem's Lot came out, I mean, I can remember watching it with friends, you know, all gathered around. We were all scared to death of watching the scene where the kid comes up, and that scene, even in the movie, of this movie, like, that was the scene I was looking for, and that scene isn't even scary. I mean, I can remember in my mind's eye what that scene was like, of him scratching at the window and the kid being scared inside. It wasn't like that at all. So it was a little bit different of a version than the original. But I feel like it's more of a family version of the original. But anyway, I mean, if you like the original, you like scary movies, I would definitely watch it. I do think it's more of, I mean, what is it even rated? I had it pulled up. Is it even rated R? I'll be surprised if it is. Oh, it is rated R, 2024, horror mystery. It's an hour and 53 minutes. When an author, Ben Mears, comes back to his childhood home in search for some inspiration for his next book, he discovers that people in his hometown are mysteriously turning into blood-sucking vampires. I think part of my issue with it is this, is that, you know, they're always talking about, like, making these TV series, like, called Haddonfield, and I think Crystal Lake, which I thought was a joke, but I guess it really is coming out, based on the Friday the 13th movies is coming out. you know, they hint at all these remakes, right? It's like, for those of us out there that are horror movie lovers, we either want to see something that we've never seen before. Like, I have to be honest with you. Like, my friend thinks the Terrifier movies are funny. I think they're terrifying for the title. But I love them because it's kind of new. They're very amateurish. And there's something new about them that's so scary to me that I've never seen before. Like, I've not seen the second one, and I'm really excited to see the third one. So I will be watching Terrifier 2 this week, because I haven't seen it yet. But I have watched All Hallows Eve, too. So I think for those of us that are huge horror movie fans, we either want to see something we've never seen before, or we want to see an unbelievable remake. Like, if you're going to do a remake of it, you better... I mean, it's so interesting, like in the Halloween franchise, the Rob Zombie movies are so highly criticized, and I understand why they're criticized. I get it, right? But I even think that the Rob Zombie, the remakes of the Halloween movies, 1 and 2, I think they really even hold up to the originals of telling a different story in a completely different way. I mean, it's a remake of a complete... I mean, it's taking the original story and twisting it and telling it in a completely different way, other than just kind of like a caricature remake of the original, which is what this was. I'd rather see something completely different. Doesn't mean I won't criticize it. Doesn't mean as a horror fan, I'm not going to look and say, well, you didn't have this and you didn't have that, and where's Ben Tramer from the original Halloween? It's not like that, right? I'm not going to say those things as a huge horror movie fan, but I would like to see a completely different remake of it, or a higher quality if you're going to. This was just a family version of Salem's Lot, if you want to know my opinion. Anyway, let me know if you watched it in the comment section below and what you think about this movie. I know a lot of people out there really loved it, so if you did, let me know what you liked about it. I did think the cast was good, and it, you know, it just really wasn't that scary to me, honestly. And I want to be scared if I want to watch something like this. I mean, Salem's Lot is a really scary story, and the original was a really scary movie. That has stuck with me all these years, 30 years later, you know? So for this one to not scare me at all was kind of, it didn't hit where I wanted it. I wanted it to, like, scare the hell out of me. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.